Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of New Fan Playbook, where we get to teach ourselves about the game of American football. Today is a special episode, and today we'll be speaking and teaching ourselves about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60 is just a few days away, and on this episode, we'll be looking at the intricacies of the Super Bowl. We'll look at what the game itself is. What's the history of the Super Bowl? What are the side attractions, including the entertainment? How much do Americans spend on a typical Super Bowl Sunday? And then we'll close this episode out with a review of the two teams that will be playing in this game. So I'm excited to have you on this episode. And without wasting time, let's jump into the thick of things. So we'll start off with the Super Bowl. What's the Super Bowl? Just as we have the UEFA Champions League final in soccer, we have the FIFA World Cup, and other one-day events. The Super Bowl is a one-day event that signifies the end of the professional football league in America. The professional league, being NFL, is made up of two conferences, the AFC and the NFC. Each of these conferences are made up of 16 teams. So of these 16 teams, they get to play against each other during the regular season, and 7 teams from each conference will qualify to play in the postseason. Of the 7 teams that play in the postseason, 1 team will come out from the AFC and 1 team will come out from the NFC to play in that ultimate game, which is called the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl happens every year, and the reigning champion is the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds, go Birds, go Birds. So on Sunday, February 8th, the Seattle Seahawks will be playing the New England Patriots to determine the new champion of the NFL. So let's get into the history of the game. How did the game come about? In the 1950s, 1960s, 1940s, the NFL was divided into AFL and NFL. Recall I mentioned now we have AFC and NFC as two conferences. Then it used to be AFL and NFL. So the ultimate game to determine the champion then was called the AFL versus NFL World Championship game. But in the late 1960s, the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs back then coined a new name for the game. He called it the Super Bowl. The bowl, which he got from college football. A bowl is a typical postseason game in college football. So he got the bowl, and then added super just to make it that special game everybody looks forward to. And since then, the Super Bowl has carried that significance and that name. The game has typically been played on Sundays, and in previous years it used to be played in January until 2021, when the game was moved to the second Sunday of February. The Super Bowl trophy is called the Vince Lombardi Trophy and is named after Vince Lombardi, the first coach that won 2 Super Bowls after he was renamed. The New England Patriots is the most successful team in the Super Bowl era, having won 6 Super Bowls and played in 11 Super Bowls, and with Sunday's game will be playing in a record 12 Super Bowl game. So that's a little bit about the history of the Super Bowl. Next, we'll be jumping into what a typical game day during the Super Bowl looks like. The Super Bowl is a week-long event filled with media interview, parties, sponsorship parties, and different events just to prop up the game day experience. So on the game day itself, there's usually different activities that are lined up for the day. Most of it will mirror what you see on a typical game day, but there are some distinctions that makes the day special, which we would speak to during this episode. So let's look at a typical game day on Super Bowl Sunday. A typical game day starts with media interview. The media people will be around interviewing some players, highlighting family members, and different interesting activities like that. And then the game proper would start with the national anthem. Now, the national anthem is a significant part of professional games in America. But the national anthem rendition on Super Bowl takes precedence and carries a lot of importance. And we've historically seen great performances from famed artists on Super Bowl Sunday. An example of this was a rendition by Whitney Houston that is famed to be one of the best ever. We've had Chris Stapleton and a lot of other famous artists sing the national anthem.
Rise and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular of Mossberg singing up, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there.
There's also the Black National Anthem that is sung as part of activities for the day. For this year, Charlie Puth will be singing the national anthem, while Coco Jones will be singing the Black National Anthem. So after the national anthem, next we have the player introduction. So players on both teams will be introduced to the fans and to the whole world and to everybody watching the game. And then next we have the flyover. So the flyover is also an interesting part of the game. Is one of my favorite game day experience, either in the NFL or in the college level. The flyover is typically carried out by military personnel, and they would bring out the best of their performances on game day. We've had the B-12 flyover, we've had choppers and a lot of other interesting aircraft flyover during the game. There's the flyover, which is heralded by the fan, and then next is the coin toss. So the coin toss is to determine which team starts the game or which team gets possession of the ball first. Heads, tail, we typically get to see this announced at the beginning of the game. After the coin toss, the game will start, and as we know, football is made up of 4 quarters, split into 2 halves: first half, halftime, and second half. So the Super Bowl also mirrors these. The first half of 2 quarters is played, and then halftime break is observed. Now, halftime is what makes the Super Bowl special, because during the halftime performance, there are 2 significant events that happen: the halftime show and the Super Bowl commercials. We'll speak extensively to the halftime show, but let's look at the other concluding parts of the game day experience. After the halftime show, the 2 teams will return back to the field to conclude the game, and at the end of regulation time, if there's no if there's no winner, both teams will go into overtime to determine who the champion would be. After the champion has been determined on the field of play, next we proceed to trophy presentation, and then the Super Bowl MVP is also awarded to the player that had the best performance on the field. So that's what a typical game day experience looks like, and I hope as you also watch the Super Bowl on Sunday, you get to enjoy this as well. So, so we've seen what a typical game day looks like, and we know about the football part. It's made up of 4 quarters, 2 halves. The running back is trying to get the ball. The quarterback is trying to pass the ball. The defense is trying to stop the quarterback. So everybody knows about the typical football experience. But what makes the Super Bowl special and unique and gets people to watch a lot is the halftime performance. Now, the halftime performance is unique because on an annual basis, the organizers of the Super Bowl brings the best of the best artists in the world to come perform at the halftime show. The performance draws a lot of viewers going in the millions. And as we saw last year, when Kendrick Lamar performed, viewership was estimated at about 133 million, which was an increase to what we've seen in the previous years. So the halftime performance is so important to people, and because of this, companies also try to leverage on the viewership. So before we get into our halftime performance, we'll look at how companies make the most of the halftime show. Companies do this through Super Bowl commercials. Commercial is a 30-second ad that is run on the TV during Super Bowl halftime. Now, this 30-second commercial typically costs company around an average of about $8 million. So you ask yourself, why would any company want to spend $8 million on a 30-second ad? It's because of the viewership. Like I mentioned earlier, Super Bowl at halftime records more than 100 million people. And companies use that opportunity to introduce some of their flagship products to the viewers. In 1984, Apple introduced the Macintosh through a Super Bowl halftime commercial. Other companies have also done this: Doritos, Coca-Cola, Snicker, Pfizer, electric vehicle companies, and a host of other companies have tried to make the most of the Super Bowl halftime and the viewership to get its products to the face of the consumers. So the other significant part of the halftime is performance from superstars. Historically, Super Bowl has had great performance from famed artists. We had Michael Jackson perform in 1993. We had Prince perform in a heavy downpour in Miami in 2007, which has arguably been referred to as the best Super Bowl performance. We had Dr. Dre, Snoop, and his crew perform in 2022 in LA. We've had Rihanna come out of retirement to perform. We've had Usher. So halftime performance is usually a very significant part of the game, and a time when both football fans and non-football fans come out to watch the Super Bowl. The halftime performance typically lasts around 12 to 15 minutes, after which the stage and other effects are taken off for the players to come back to the field. For this year's halftime performance, Bad Bunny, a Puerto Rican American, will be the one performing this year. So fans are gathered at home glued to their TV screens, excited about the Super Bowl. Companies are spending a lot of money to come up with ads. All of this translates into heavy spending during Super Bowl weekend. Takes us to our next point. How do Americans spend money during Super Bowl weekend? It is estimated that during Super Bowl weekend, Americans spend up to $20 billion on food, beverages, apparel, and other related activities. So what are the different activities or the different line items that make up this estimated 20 billion? To start off with, a typical ticket to the Super Bowl costs an average of $10,000, and that's for the seats in the bleachers or seats in the regular rows. So Super Bowl tickets are usually very expensive. And then going from the ticket itself, fans spend a lot of money on food and on drinks. On an average, it is estimated that more than 1.5 billion chicken wings are consumed on Super Bowl Sunday. It's a lot of wings to fly around. In addition, it is estimated that 345 million gallons of beer is also consumed on Super Bowl Sunday. Similarly, it is estimated that more than 12 million boxes of pizzas are consumed on Super Bowl Sunday. In addition to this heavy spending of food, fans also get to organize watch parties, people get to go to the bars and restaurants, and fans also spend a lot of money on apparel, just as I have my Super Bowl apparel for the Eagles, I have my jersey. Fans also get to spend a lot of money just to enjoy and have a comprehensive or a wholesome game day experience. So all of this adds up into how much fans spend on the Super Bowl and how much money is channeled into the economy of the whole city for the Super Bowl. 2026, San Francisco will be hosting the Super Bowl. So it will be interesting to see the surge and the surge in commerce in San Francisco during the Super Bowl weekend. So before we go into the review of the two teams that will be playing in the Super Bowl this year, I'd love to shout out the reigning champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds! Eagles won Super Bowl 59, and as you can see my hat, I have 59 here, and I also have Eagles jersey on. Can't wait to have the Eagles once again in the championship game. But until then, let's go into reviewing Super Bowl 60 and the teams that will be playing. So for a review of the two teams that will be playing this Sunday in Super Bowl 60, the New England Patriots will be playing against Seattle Seahawks. And this matchup will be a repeat of Super Bowl 2015 that was won by the New England Patriots with a final score of 28-24. So we'll start off by reviewing the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots is the most successful team in the NFL, having played in 11 Super Bowls, won 6 out of these 11, and will be looking to add a record 7th Super Bowl this Sunday. The team that was led by Coach Belichick and the legendary Tom Brady won 6 of its trophy between the years 2001 to 2018. And with a change of hand and a new coach in first-year coach Mike Vrabel and sophomore quarterback Drake May, the team will be looking to start off this new era with some success and addition of trophy to its cabinet. To get to the Super Bowl this year, the Patriots ended the regular season as the second best team in the AFC, just behind the Broncos. And in the postseason, they had to defeat the Texans, the Chargers, and in the AFC Championship game, they had to defeat the Denver Broncos under a heavy snowstorm in Colorado. The team had a seemingly easy schedule, but will be looking to clear all doubts by going against the heavily favorited Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, on the other hand, have not had so much success in the Super Bowl as the New England Patriots. They've been to the Super Bowl 3 times, winning 1 against the Denver Broncos. This year, the Seahawks will be looking to add to his tally by defeating the New England Patriots. The Seattle Seahawks are currently led by coach Mike McDonald, a second-year coach who used to be a defensive coordinator. Coach Mike McDonald has been able to turn the team around from the struggles of past season, and with the addition of quarterback Sam Darnold that was acquired from the Minnesota Vikings, the team has been able to put together impressive performance, which led to domination of the NFC. The team had a 14-3 record and came out as the best team in the NFC. In the postseason, to get to the Super Bowl, the Seattle Seahawks had to play against the San Francisco 49ers and an NFC Championship game against the LA Rams. From an odds and prediction perspective, the Seattle Seahawks are heavily favorited to win this championship game based on their experience and the strength of the teams they've had to play to get to the Super Bowl. So we've had a sneak peek into the 2 teams that will be playing in this year's Super Bowl. For my own prediction of which team would win, I encourage you to look out for my next video that will be released on my channel. And as I rightly predicted, the college champion, I'd encourage you to also watch out for that one to see if there are tips you can hold on to. So it's been wonderful discussing about the Super Bowl. Do you also have interesting memory of the Super Bowl? Do you have anything you are looking forward to? Are you looking forward to the halftime show, the national anthem? Let me know which one sticks out to you. Drop it in the comment section and let's have some fun. Till I see you guys again in the next episode, want to encourage you to share this video with your friends, like the video, and importantly, subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much and see you guys.